Filipino Janitor sings like Elvis, Simon Cowell stands up in shock. Must watch Audition 2025. The lights of Ireland's Got Talent 2025 glimmered like 1,000 stars across the grand stage, but behind the scenes, in the quiet corridor near the janitor's closet, stood a man no one noticed. His name was Ramon de la Cruz, a 46-year-old Filipino immigrant who had been working as a janitor in Dublin for the past 10 years. Every night, when the stage emptied and the cameras turned off, Ramon would sweep the floors, softly humming the tunes of Elvis Presley. To him, Elvis wasn't just a singer, he was a dream, a symbol of freedom and voice. Back in the Philippines, Ramon had once fronted a small band that played in seaside bars. He had a voice that could make people stop mid-conversation, but when his wife Maria got sick and hospital bills piled up, Ramon sold his guitar and took a job overseas. One day, maybe I'll sing again, he'd whisper to himself as he mopped the floor, his reflection shimmering on the stage lights he'd never stepped under. That day came by accident. A week before the talent show auditions, the sound technician, Patrick, had forgotten his wallet inside the hall. As he walked back in, he froze. There was Ramon on stage, holding the microphone, eyes closed, singing Can't Help Falling in Love, with a voice that sounded like velvet and thunder mixed into one. The empty hall echoed with a haunting beauty. Patrick was stunned. "Mate, you sound like Elvis himself." Ramon quickly put the microphone down, embarrassed. "Ah, sir, sorry, I was just cleaning." But Patrick wasn't about to let it go. He filmed a short clip on his phone and sent it to one of the show's producers. Within days, they were begging Ramon to audition. At first, he refused. "I'm just a janitor," he said softly. "No one wants to see that." But Patrick looked him straight in the eyes. "No, Ramon. The world needs to hear you." When audition day came, Ramon wore his cleanest uniform, neatly pressed, with his name tag still on. He didn't own any fancy clothes. The audience murmured as he walked on stage. "A janitor," someone whispered. "Is this a joke?" Simon Cowell raised an eyebrow, arms folded, his trademark smirk forming. Ramon held the microphone nervously. "Good evening, sir. My name is Ramon de la Cruz. I'm from the Philippines. I work here as a janitor." The judges gave polite smiles, but the skepticism was thick in the air. Then the music began, the opening chords of If I Can Dream. The moment Ramon opened his mouth, the room transformed. His voice carried power, pain, and purity, like the voice of a man who had lived every word he sang. The audience fell silent. Even Simon's smirk disappeared. Every note told a story, of sacrifice, love, and hope, the story of a man who cleaned floors but never stopped dreaming. Halfway through the song, something magical happened. The crowd began to rise to their feet, one by one, until the entire hall was standing. Simon Cowell, usually the hardest to move, slowly stood up, his eyes glassy. When the final note echoed, the silence broke into thunderous applause. Amanda Holden was wiping tears. "Ramon, that wasn't just singing. That was soul." Simon leaned forward, his voice softer than usual. "You know, in all my years, I've heard many Elvis tributes. But this wasn't an impersonation. This was you. You sang from a place most people never touch." Ramon's eyes glistened. He took a shaky breath. "Sir, I used to sing for my wife. She passed away last year. I promised her I'd sing again someday. Tonight, I kept that promise." The audience broke into applause once more, louder, longer, filled with something deeper than entertainment. It was respect. It was love. When the results were announced, Ramon advanced straight to the semi-finals with the golden buzzer from Simon himself. Confetti rained down as he stood frozen, tears streaming down his face. Patrick, watching from backstage, whispered, "Told you, brother." That night, clips of Ramon's performance went viral. People across the world, from New York to Manila, shared his story. The janitor who sang like Elvis, they called him. But to Ramon, it was never about fame. It was about proving that dreams don't die, they just wait for courage. Weeks later, he donated a portion of his prize money to a hospital in Manila, helping children who couldn't afford treatment. "My wife would have wanted that," he said simply. And as the world fell in love with his voice, Ramon continued to clean the same hall after each show, humming softly, not for the fame or cameras, but for the love that had always guided him. Because sometimes, greatness doesn't come wrapped in glitter or fame, it comes in the quiet heart of a man who never stopped believing. And that night, when Simon Cowell stood up in shock, the world didn't just see a janitor. They saw a man reborn, proof that no dream is too small, no soul too ordinary, and no stage too high for a heart that dares to sing.